Hello there, thank you for joining us for the Natural Lifestyle Show. I'm Billy.
I'm Angel.
And we have Baby.
Hi! Say hi! Today we're going to be talking about a lioness called LittleTyke who refused to eat meat.
Really?
Yes, this is very interesting.
You a bedtime story?
Could be. It could be your bedtime story.
Alright, I'm ready.
Okay. Well, LittleTyke was born in a zoo once upon a time.
Good start.
Yes. So LittleTyke's mother was born in Africa, and LittleTyke's mother was free in Africa, and she was captured and put into a zoo. And I guess that had a really bad effect on her, and one of the ways that showed is every time she would have a litter of cubs, she would be not very motherly to them.
That'd be good.
And so when she was like on her 5th pregnancy, I think it was, the zoo officials were standing outside of her cage when it was time for her to give birth. And also a couple was George and Margaret Westview. They had a ranch and they were animal lovers. That's right.
Animal lovers.
And so they were standing outside of her cage, and when she gave birth, the man, he grabbed the little cub and he held it and he said, "Oh, you poor little Tyke," and that's how LittleTyke got her name.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, and so they took LittleTyke home and they bottle fed her, and they just raised her. I mean, I think they raised her in the house. I think that she was always a house cat.
She was babied.
Yeah, she was baby throughout her life. And when she was about 3 months old, the zoo curator told them that it was time to start weaning her. So they gave her some bones, but she wouldn't have anything to do with them. She put her, just stuck her nose up at him. She was like repulsed by the bones. She didn't want to have anything to do with them. And so they tried putting a little bit of blood in her bottle to see if they could get her to start eating meat. And even if there was 1 drop of blood in her bottle, she wouldn't touch the milk. And so they tried to put milk in their hand, and they let her eat the milk out of their hand, and then they would switch hands and have some hamburger and some milk. They would switch.
Yeah, they done the switcheroo, didn't they?
But she wasn't fooled by that. She did not want the hamburger. So, I mean, they just could never get her to eat the meat. So what they did is they started getting high protein grains and mixing up eggs and milk in that, and that's what she would eat. That was her diet. And she was happy with it. And she would eat grass outside too, and so that's what she ate. And around their ranch they had a lot of animals, and they said that she liked to hang out with the kittens. Okay, and they had this sheep named Becky, and LittleTyke loved to lay around the ranch with Becky. And she drew a lot of publicity to their ranch, and so eventually she was invited to this like talk show, the popular talk show on TV. And but before that, I just want to tell you that they had finally, before they went on this talk show, they finally did come to grips with her diet, because they even put out like a $1,000 reward for anybody who had an idea that would get her to eat meat, because they were so concerned about her health, because all the experts said, hey, she's got to eat meat. But, she was always in good health. She never showed any signs of deficiency, but they just wanted to do what was right for her, so they tried to, get her to eat meat. And so people gave ideas, all of them failed, and they finally accepted her when a little boy came up to George one day, and he asked him, he said, "Haven't you ever read your Bible?" And he's like, "Well, what are you talking about?" And so the little boy told him this verse. Okay, so the little boy told George to go home and look up Genesis chapter 1 verse 30, and that says, "And to every beast of the earth, and to every fowl of the air, and to everything that creepeth upon the earth, where there is life, I have given every green herb for meat." And it was so. And so when George went home and he read that, he was like, well, maybe LittleTyke is just well, I guess he thought to himself that LittleTyke is just doing what she wants to do, perhaps. I mean, what she was created to do. I mean, because even though lions typically eat meat now, if they were created not to, which I believe they were, it's not unusual for that to come out every now and then, especially if they're away from seeing it happen, with their other pack, whatever. So when he found this out, that God had created animals to eat vegetation, he accepted it. They focused on high, you got my hair, on high protein grains, and just tried to make sure she was as healthy as she could be. And Answers in Genesis, they have a little bit, answersingenesis.org, they talk about LittleTyke on their website too, and they talked about that there's a study of cats, I guess domesticated cats that are fed vegetarian diets. And these cats didn't have any B12 deficiency, and most of them had normal taurine levels. And so they're talking about how there's probably really a lot more that we need to learn about cat nutrition, because of the fact that LittleTyke didn't show deficiency. So, we don't know everything. That's the thing.
Yeah, and that's true.
Yeah, people like to think they know everything, but they don't. And, things really did change with the fall of man, and you have to remember, too, that a lot of plants are extinct, so it could very well be that a lot of plants that they, first ate may not even be here, or they may not have the right nutrition anymore, because even our food...
GMOs,
yeah,
things of that nature.
And our soil is depleted. There's a lot of things. But, everything changed.
Even rain's not pure.
No, definitely not. But anyway, I just thought I'd throw that in there about the answers in Genesis, what they said in that study, because that's a big topic. I hear people saying, well, that they always have to feed their cats meat and stuff like that. And if you want to look up that study about the vegetarian, maybe you can find a vegetarian cat food if you're more comfortable feeding your cat vegetarian rather than meat cat food. So, and plus there's additives now too.
And that's more than just cats. You can do dogs and just about any.
Oh yeah, there's vegan dog foods.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely something to look into if you're interested in that, and I would recommend it.
I do too.
And so what happened toward
the animals will thank you for it.
They will. What happened toward the end of LittleTyke's life was they went on to this talk show. And it was really neat because and on the talk show, on the set, they had these little chicks that were only 4 days old. And they wanted to take pictures of LittleTyke with the chicks. And LittleTyke went up and licked the chicks, and they saw that she had a really funny look on her face. And I forget if they opened her mouth or she did, but she had licked the chick, and the chick had gotten in her mouth. And she didn't know what to do about it. She was just sitting there, because she didn't want to hurt it. And so after the chick got out of her mouth, she would lick all the chicks with just the tip of her tongue.
Smart cat.
Because she didn't want that to happen again. And so I thought that was really sweet. And so they spent a few weeks in Hollywood, and then they came back. And when they came back, she contracted viral pneumonia. And from what I read, they said that they think it may be because of the climate change or whatever. Because, I don't think she was ever sickly, but after she traveled, she contracted that. And it said that one night after she watched TV all evening, she died in her sleep. And
sad.
That was the life of LittleTyke. And so, I just thought that would be interesting to share.
That's not a good bedtime story.
Well, it's really kind of uplifting to know of a kitty cat that was like that, so kind-hearted and tender-hearted.
Just leave out the dying part.
And there's a verse I want to talk about too, Revelations 21:4, and it says, because in the beginning God created everything to eat plants, and once again that will be the case. And this verse is an illustration of that. It says, and God will wipe every tear from their eyes. There shall be no more death, nor sorrow, nor crying. There shall be no more pain, for the former things have passed away. So that's what we have to look forward to all over again. The lion laying down with the lamb, just like LittleTyke laid down with Becky. That's cool.
That is cool.
That is way cool.
And you'll find a lot of books out there, Christian book, that will say, like I read the Left Behind series, and that's one of the last things they said in there as they were traveling through, going back home, that they seen the lion laying down with a lamb. I just can't wait to see stuff like that.
Yeah, that's really, really cool. So leave us a comment below and let us know what you think, and if you've heard of the story of LittleTyke before. And also, I don't have the details for this one, but I have heard of, like, at least in one instance, a lion that lived with a group of monks, a vegetarian lioness. So I think that, throughout history, that maybe it wasn't unusual for, you know, Lioness
basically
is to
what
be kept
you're
and
saying,
be vegetarian.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Basically, what you're saying is really not unheard of.
Yeah, I mean, because I had heard of another instance of it, but
That's sweet.
it's neat to know like so many details, and it's just really heartwarming. And so I hope that this kind of brightened your day a little bit to hear about LittleTyke. And so give us a thumbs up and subscribe. And we have a group on Facebook called Living the Natural Life, and we would love for you to join us. We'll have a link below, and sign up for our newsletter on our website. The URL is floating in front of me right now, I believe.
Is that it?
I think it's right here.
Oh, right there? Okay.
But come check us out. Sign up for our newsletter, and we'll be making another video very soon. And you have a great day.
Thank you for joining us.
Bye. Bye bye.